I'm doing the unthinkable, cutting paradoxical outcome from paradoxical outcome. All right, welcome back, Vintage Gamers, to a off-stream league recording. Tried to do a couple of challenge streams this weekend, but it just wasn't having a good time, wasn't making good content, so decided to stop those early. And we're gonna do an off-stream recording here of some more playtesting. So I am basically trying to determine exactly how far we can take this idea of flow state stock up, Lorien revealed plus full blue Moxen. If we push ourselves to an even more controlling stance, how does that fare? We started in a very controlling stance with the blue-white control deck, and I wanted to see if we could go in a different direction here and play like a PO, Lurrus PO, Jeskai Lurrus PO deck, but without POs, because PO's always been one of the weaker cards in the deck. It gives you that oops, I win condition, which is really nice, but you know, it's one of the worst cards to draw when you don't have Moxen going. So theoretically, we could maybe try to play this controlling 8 force, trap deck, and then just cut the bad part. The problem is the PO isn't the bad part, really. The PO is just a volatile part. It is a high variance, low floor, high ceiling card, right? So we're gonna try playing this deck today. We're gonna use a lot of 1 mana instants so that we can theoretically hold open 1 mana instant and then Lorien revealed on turn 1. And then if we don't need to use our 1 mana instant, we can cycle Lorien revealed, maybe we can force and have that flow state going quick as possible. What else? So yeah, I don't know. We need to find a good term for this this kind of deck here, this big blue stock up control deck that has flow state. Just because if it is good and we do keep playing this kind of deck, then I could see it becoming a big metagame staple in a similar way to Frog, but it kind of wants slightly different cards to beat than Frog. Frog, you're trying to like really hit their Frog with 1 mana removal as the way of powering through, where this deck, you kind of want to hit it with the Pyroblast, Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce angle, hitting the clunky, 3 mana stock up, that kind of thing. So I'm going to do this and run this through a test league. We might, need a little more push here, maybe like a Snapcaster or a Breach, maybe a game 1 small Breach package of just Breach Freeze, something like that, because this is going to be a low power deck. We're going to be winning with like 4th Eralingas or Thundertrap Trainer, Lurrus, and Saga Beats. But yeah, it's closer to that blue-white control deck than the Tinker deck, but certainly just another way we can try to utilize this shell. For those wondering, we did try to play this version on stream, which is pretty fun. This was more of heavy focus on Breach Brain Freezing game 1, and then being able to board out of that into Corey Steelcutter on turn 2, which worked really well against Frog, but really poorly against Mono White. So, if you're interested, if you're like a Breach gamer, maybe this kind of more combo-oriented take is better for you. That's the pretty big question, and kind of the thing I want to find out is, first we find out if the shell is working for, a variety of different ways. And I think that's already pretty established, is I think you can get flow state stock up, Lorien revealed, big blue mana. And then once we have established that that is a way we can play with our vintage deck, what shell do we put it in? Do we put it in a deck with more controlling elements? Do we put it in a deck trying to combo? Do we put it in a deck with initiative, or do we put it in a deck with wastelands? Can you play wastelands if you're playing for Lorien revealed? There's a lot of questions surrounding this, and there's not that much time before NYSE, so we have to figure it out. So that's why we're gonna play this through a vintage league. I'll see you in round 1. I am happy to announce the dates for high stakes proxy friendly vintage in 2026. The legendary NYSE returns to Long Island in New York on June 6th. This $500 entry fee tournament will pay out 8 pieces of unlimited power. The Oklahoma Land Run returns in 2026 on July 10th through 12th at the Reed Convention Center in Oklahoma City. Play Friday Team Trios, Saturday Legacy for a Mox Sapphire, and Sunday Vintage for a Mox Emerald. Event links can be found in the description below. I hope to see you there. Let's battle. All right, let's give this our best effort here. try to lock in and get good testing done. Opponent is Lurrus. That's good. No blue mana. I will not repeat the mistakes of streaming, Justin. I'm gonna mulligan this. This looks pretty reasonable, though it doesn't have counter magic. So if opponent is on a more combo-oriented Lurrus deck, that could be a problem. But if they are on a controlling one, then we can at least play through this. Here we're seeing a little bit of maybe the dysynergy between Trainer and Flow State, which wants us to have instants and sorceries, but I don't know. We have to evaluate that as we go. Trainer is a really powerful card, especially when you're not playing like tons of misses. Our deck has got 14 plus 3 other trainers, so like 17 misses is so low. Can still miss because I'm Justin, but we got a Black Lotus on a mold of 5 from the opponent. Are they going to throw down like a frog +1 here? Frog Bowmaster turn 1? Looks like it. No Bowmaster, just turn 1 frog, right? Well, still not good for us. We don't have that many answers. We have 2 swords and 2 flames in the main, so a turn 1 frog on the play is still going to be problematic. I don't want to like overdo it on removal in the main because it's just so. It just really depends on the deck if it's good or not. Opponent has a daze. I think I still have to run a trainer into a daze. Put them pretty far behind if they're going to daze this. At least building out mana wise. I don't know. I need to push through here. I don't think waiting is great for us, and we have more 2 mana options, so it also allows us to next turn go like trainer into swords. Sapphire. Are they gonna brainstorm? They drew a fetch land, so they're probably gonna brainstorm. They didn't even brainstorm. There's my swords, actually. In that case, their hand is brainstorm plus island at the moment. Okay, I'll just swords this right now in case they brainstorm into spell pierce. They could brainstorm into blue card force, I guess. That's pretty bad for me, but yeah, maybe I can wait. I don't know. I'm like more worried about. I guess I could. I don't know. They had an island, right? So they'd have to in their 3 cards hit exactly blue card force. That's something to think about if this is the right timing on this swords. The problem is like if I would just wait and do nothing, like I still want to cast another spell this turn, right? If I wait and do nothing and swords on their end step or something, or swords on their upkeep or something, like it's not great. If they end of turn brainstorm, then I can swords in response. It's quite good, but then I still am not casting either of these sorcery speed spells, which is not great. So I feel like this makes the most sense to me, but I'm not sure. It's just the most mana efficient. Okay, so swords resolves. That's my instant, so I actually have a turned on flow state now. I don't know if my opponent would keep a spell pierce. So I think what I think I just to be safe, I think we just play out a Thundertrap trainer. Spell pierce, Mindbreak Trap. I think a spell pierce, Mindbreak Trap's gonna be hard to turn on. We do have the ability to play Flame of Venor now, which is nice. Probe, they see Flow State, Pierce, and Reinforce. They didn't fetch off of Delta, which is interesting. Which means they redrew Probe and then redrew the card that so they drew all the cards that they brainstormed back. So they didn't actually get rid of any cards from the brainstorm. Basic by Lurrus. Okay. There's another flow state. So now that our flow state's online, we should be able to pull away really fast here, hopefully. Swords and fetch. And then there's a Black Lotus in the yard. I probably should not have fetched here because I can go swords, lotus. Nah, I think I'm supposed to just cast another flow state here. Force and Mox. Or force in another fetch. I think I'd just rather have force in another fetch than a Mox, right? Ah, off-color Mox. It's like at some point I'm gonna get wastelanded. I still have multiple more fetchables. I don't know. I could see it. If it was an on-color Moxen, I'd probably take the on-color Moxen, but let's see if my opponent has a black land here. They didn't even have a black land, so I'm glad I went with the flow state. Probably not attacking anymore because of a Bowmaster. I think we're just passing. I could go flame for draw plus destroy sapphire. I think that's actually fine. They want to play a card cast negation. It's super good here. I can pay for spell pierce. Oh, they had Bowmaster. So they just didn't play Bowmaster. Okay. This is fine. I'm just gonna let that go, and then I'm going to let that go, and then I'm gonna swords this. And now we have a fourth and a force, and I did draw my tap land. They didn't spell pierce me then, so they'd have to have drawn spell pierce for turn. Yeah, I think it's reasonable to just do one less here. Okay, they're off it. I guess we don't have like that many cards that draw cards, but the ones that do kind of matter. So I don't know if Bowmaster is actually a problem for this kind of deck. The good cards come in here are swords and pyros. And just take out negations. There's also a trap, maybe. Could bring in Needle on Wasteland if we want to play that longer game plan. It might actually be worthwhile here. Normally I'm not big on that, but taking out negations and traps is something I'm big on, so. I could bring in Lantern, but if they're bringing in Stony Silence, it doesn't really make sense to bring in Lantern. One thing my deck doesn't have is like a recurable Lurrus card. Besides Trainer. So maybe you want to have like a dress down in the 75 so that you have an option for recurring on via Lurrus. Because a lot of times you don't really want to bring in Lantern or like an artifact that recurs itself because of Stony Silence. It's just things to think about. I'm just spitballing here because like I said in the beginning of this video, this is experiment. This is me trying and pushing the limits of what this shell can do. So having something like a dress down seems like it has a lot more value here than in another deck right now. Because dress down's kind of fallen out of favor since there are not very many sagas anymore. Not that there aren't very many sagas. There are still lots of sagas running around. But there aren't 4 sagas in decks. So dress down isn't bad. It's just not like a super powerful card anymore. It still does some very good things against a variety of different ETB creatures. But it would make Lurrus a lot more powerful. For our deck anyways. This hand, again, just no blue mana. I have a lot of mana in my deck, but vintage mana. Mulligan. Opponent also mulliganed to 5 in the last game, so that's something to consider. We both mulliganed to 6 here, so. I think Force is my worst card here. So I will get rid of force. If they have ancestral on my upkeep, then obviously that that math changes pretty quickly, but don't really want this Lotus to be spell pierced. I'm gonna try waiting a turn. Instead, I just get wastelanded. Okay. Flow state. I don't think I can wait anymore, so yeah, that was what I was worried about. So maybe I should have led with volcanic instead of, so I just still have swords up for like a frog here. Yeah, okay, never mind. I'm just double wastelanded. Okay, my bad. I kept a hand with 2 lands and a Black Lotus. My fault. My fault for keeping a hand with 2 lands and a Black Lotus. I should have known that wasn't very good. Yeah, that's 6 2-drops. I don't know. Am I supposed to mulligan my hand? I don't know. Just wasteland things. It's tough because like you're like, well, maybe if I have more wasteland, more fetches in my deck, then I can. Why is this using 2 strands? Gross. Should be 2 non-strand lands. If you have more fetches, then you're like less susceptible to wasteland. But then if you once you get your lands, you're more susceptible to getting wastelanded out of the game. You know, so it's like a really rough balance. Mox Emerald. And a frog. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I don't know. Like we kept 2 lands Lotus and opponent just answered all 3 of them and killed us. I mean, these are the kind of games that frog wins. The games where wasteland is good. They pitched long goodbye, huh? Kills our Lurrus, but not much else. But they don't know that we don't have like hexing squelchers or something. They probably just like tooted for strip mine or something like that. Oh, ancestral, sure. There's a fetch. But I don't really know. I'm sure this gets countered. I guess he just destroying this isn't even good. Have to exile it. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Okay, let's just go to game 3. Non-game here. Not a lot we could have done besides keep a different hand. Gotta keep long goodbye in mind though, in case I'm getting tied up on win cons. That is I don't know. That's also like a decent example though of Flow State and Trainer are cards that cost 2 mana. And if I do not have a Moxen, then I can't play them. If I get wastelanded out like that. Our deck is definitely built around the idea of Moxen. Though simply having a fetch and getting a basic island would have remedied that in that game. Though there's not that many fetches in my deck, right? So 7 fetchables. I wanted to up the fetchable count because you have 4 Lorien reveals. You don't want to not be able to get an island with a Lorien reveal. I guess theoretically you could fit in more islands in this deck because the white is only really for Lurrus and removal in the main, and then the red is only really for removal and 4th. So like you are still very much base blue. So maybe instead of, you know, a Vamp or a Tundra, you can have another island. But then again, you know, if you don't have fetches, the island doesn't do anything, right? I just didn't have fetch, didn't have Lorien, didn't hit either of them in my first 2 draws, so. But here I have double Mox, and I have Trainer, and I have lands, so feels like it's a kind of thing you might have to just shrug off as Magic variants. Definitely gonna jam a Trainer though. Pyro, swords, mana crypt. Probably swords. Though Pyro is the one I can hold up right away. Just immediately wastelanded. Been that card, so I can maybe play play it off of Lurrus later. Need to get to more mana in case I get wastelanded again. Though it also is a card I can bring back with Lurrus if I get to Lurrus as well. I'm gonna buy Lurrus here. I can play Lurrus with my jet. Hold up Swords, Pierce, Force. 7 cards from my opponent. Sewers. I do need a land to be able to play back my Trainer right away. They pitched a Force to their Undercity Sewers. They surveilled a Force away, which is interesting. Did not have a Wasteland. They know about my Swords. They don't know about my Force plus Spell Pierce backup, which is something. They could have the long goodbye. Flow State is not remotely close to online yet. They actually have a sorcery. Let's get a Lurrus in play. Though I guess the Spell Pierce is not actually on, so that's not great. I can Force pitch Flow State. Though I guess if they Spell Pierce my Force, then I have a Spell Pierce on their Spell Pierce, so it's something. This Lurrus is good next turn is the problem. How often are we getting to next turn with a Lurrus from this spot versus 7 cards? My opponent hasn't done anything. We have to probably use this Swords fairly aggressively because any 1 second wasteland will take out our white source. Just Resolvers. Are they doing something? Long goodbye. Yeah, I guess so. What am I going to do about it? I mean, I did trade no card for a card, so it's still a profitable trade for me. It's just feels bad. Especially with that Thundertrap Trainer waiting to get cast. No follow-up, huh? Interesting. Lorien revealed. That's a sorcery. We have lots of instants still, so it's pretty good. Grab another Tundra here. I'm not going to attack into a Bowmaster, so just be patient here. Our Flow State will be online. I don't think casting it for Anticipate is good. And this Trainer does block Bowmaster, so they can have a second Bowmaster here. Bait attack. They didn't even bother. It's hard to get an instant in the yard if I don't just like Swords this. I'm gonna just Swords this so I can play Flow State here. Not gonna like go to counter the Flow State, so just good advantage. Certainly makes the existence of the Flow States in the stock up certainly makes you more of like a modern classic, not more modern than classic control deck in that you're like more tap out based. They're gonna negation pitching trap on my Flow State. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Do you have second Bowmaster? Wow, didn't even go for the attack. No, they just have fatal pushes kept in. Okay. So normally this would be fantastic for us because we'd be able to Lurrus it back. I don't think we're allowed to fight over that. Feels like not a great use of our stuff. Our opponent still has one more card than us in hand, but we have 3 more mana. They still have a Lurrus. And we have 3 flow states, 4 stock ups, 3 Lorians to draw to as well. So, theoretically, I think this is a good spot for us, but we'll see. Nothing from the opponent. Probe. Get freaking... I'm just going to take 2 damage and look. They have a Bowmaster, they have a Bowmaster. Okay, their hand is Momentum Breaker, Force, Negation, Cruise, Null Rod. Okay. Okay. Cast forth. So much removal. And still null rotting. This will pitch Force so that they can cruise after. And so we'll hold Force in case we can draw a blue card off of our Monarch. And I'm going to only hit with 2. Only hit with 1. I can always Momentum Breaker away the one that matters. So they'd have to draw another removal spell. I think that's fine. I think I'll attack with 2. I do need to clock my opponent out here. I should draw a blue spell. So I can counter the Treasure Cruise, and that's probably just game. Unless they draw something good here. All right. We can like kick Trainer with all of our mana. I kind of forgot about that aspect of it. Oh, I don't have a Meticulous Archive anymore. At least that gives us something to play towards. Sure. Drew another Bowmaster. That's fine. Gonna go to 2. Like, if you steal the Monarch, it just does not matter anymore. Oh, I guess they get a 1/1 at the end of turn. I do need to win with these creatures, though. Maybe I should just force the Bowmaster. Yeah, maybe I should just force the Bowmaster. Okay. Probably should just force the Bowmaster. It probably was the safer play. Maybe just like kicking this trainer was bad. Maybe I just needed to play for 2 and then hold open all my a million spells. I like just trying to figure out how I lose this game. Yeah, I actually think the problem here was actually kicking this trainer. I just need to just play my 2 mana trainer and then hold open to multiple spells, and that's probably the best way to go about this. Played a little too aggressively. That is a problem I personally have, just as a Magic player, is I tend to play on the more aggressive side. I like to complement that by playing decks that have strong plays and combos to help complement my playstyle, but I have to be very cognizant of that when I'm playing these decks that are very slow and methodical, and you need to actually make like 20 correct decisions in a game instead of 5 correct decisions in a game. smaller decisions. So things to keep an eye on. All right, let's continue our winning ways. We got a nice win against Frog, though I think we learned a lot. Maybe played a little too aggressively at points, maybe played not aggressively enough at others. But that's kind of the joy of learning and brewing, and Magic in general, to be fair. Our opponent has not revealed a Lurrus, so this hand gets a lot better as long as my opponent is not on Dredge. This is the kind of hand that's like super great against a Raker Shops deck or a Jewel Shops deck. Like, this is the kind of hand you want to see versus those kind of decks. Or even mono white, Oath for sure. But Dredge is the one that really ruins us for here. Dredge is actually just going to ruin us kind of regardless. The way we're built in game one, we'd have to have like a really crazy full Mox and 4th Aerlingas game to win a game one against Dredge, which is something to consider in deck building. Like, maybe we want to have one Braden Freeze, one Breach main, so we have some oops, I wins. It's possible. Here I am just going to go with hard cast negation and force of will up. I might want to be able to just Meticulous Archive and try to get sorcery in my yard for flow state on the next turn. So I'm gonna go like this. It's like a little worse because I brainstorm. We're gonna lose our fetch for brainstorm. But if we can Meticulous Archive a sorcery into our yard, we can immediately flow state on the next turn, and that's pretty strong. Our opponent mulled a 5, which is why I was like pretty down to force the ponder and try to, strand my opponent's weak draw. Okay, I'm not putting that in my graveyard, I'll tell you that much. Just gonna wait. I have Mindbreak traps and stuff. Just gonna play on their turn. Actually, I only have one Mindbreak trap to be... Let's be reasonable here. We're gonna show and tell? We're gonna do nothing? What are we gonna do? I'm down to go now. I don't have another land drop, so I think going here is fine. Okay. This is perfect. I can just cycle my Lorien Revealed to get a land, and I'll turn on flow state that way. I also have Lurrus coming soon. We're just going to bury our opponent in card advantage. Our opponent kept a 5-card hand, and we are flow state stock up. We should just bury them. Take this 4th and take another land drop. And then I'll take Time Walk. And then I need to consider what is the number on my 4th Aerlingas. It might actually be wait. Lots of options. I can just wait. Let's just cast flow state. Negation, land drop. Let's just wait. Make our opponent tap out and then just win. This is me practicing being... what's the word? Not over eager. Restraint. All right. My opponent is off of it. We have done the classic vintage, the classic control player of bury our opponents by drawing cards until they quit. Cool. That was sweet. That was exactly what I want from my engine here. We get to bring in some Pyros, which are quite nice in this matchup. I'll bring in 1 Containment Priest to see how that goes, and then Swords can come out, and Island can come out. Don't really need those. We could bring in Consigns and play Swords if we wanted to. But if I'm not going to play Swords, I don't really want to bring in Consigns. I think I just want to play like this full control game here. We should be really strong against an Oath deck that's very clunky in comparison. This hand, oh, man, this is so sad. This hand is not good. Might be keepable on the play, but on the draw here, I have no counter magic. I have really no great answers in my deck at all to Resolved Oath at all. So I could, maybe fix that with Portable Hole or Seal of Cleansing in the sideboard. Seal of Cleansing makes a lot of sense to me in this matchup, or in this deck. This hand also doesn't have it, but at least it has some powerful cards. So I'm pretty down to try this one. Orchard. Okay, I guess we're gonna die. Oh no, they don't have a play. Okay. Or are they F6 checking me? Interesting. What is my best way forward here? Doesn't feel like it's Lorien revealed. It feels like it's stock up. I got Mindbreak trapped by Oath? I guess so. It's kind of awkward. But I mean, what else do they have if they don't even have a show and tell or an Oath on turn one? Oh, they have a Vamp? I at least have that covered. Why did you not just hold the Mindbreak trap? Maybe they have another one. Yeah, okay. Hard cast negation. We were super doomed here. This was not a thing that would be good for us unless we... Oh god, I don't know. They might not have an Oath though. They might not have another land, so we have at least some play here. They have to go Ancestral. The game is not over. Nope, they had to land in their hand, so they have an Oath. So I need to find my Containment Priest immediately. That's not good. Yeah, a Seal of Cleansing might be the one. You don't really want... Like, our deck is a million counter spells. You don't really want a powerful combo card to be resolving regardless. It's kind of defeats the whole point of the deck, which is play so many counter spells, opponent can't resolve a spell, and then get all the cards back with flow state stock up. Good thing is we have a Meticulous Archive here. We can bin a card if it's not exactly Containment Priest or Ancestral. Nope, didn't get there. Not much to say, other than we maybe needed a mulligan even again, but only a very specific set of draws was really going to be good against what my opponent was doing there, so... Yep. Atraxa was their top card, and the 10 cards they have include Flow State, which is interesting. We're just not beating this anyways. I might let them play one more out just to see a little bit more of their deck if they have this Flow State in. We did see Ponder, so maybe they're trying to get a little more consistency. Strip Mine, Flow State, Jet. That's the cards they took. I can't actually... I guess I can technically Pyroblast this Atraxa, but... So, like, if I draw... Oh, I guess I don't have the ability to negate now because of the strip mine. If I draw a Containment Priest and then a Pyroblast, maybe that's enough, but... Surprised I didn't use Jet there. Whatever. I just want to see one more activation of Oath. I want to know if they have Gaia's Blessing. I want to know how many cantrips we're looking at. A couple things. Maybe I do want Consign. I mean, the thing is I have to have Consign and I have to have Pyroblast in my hand, and that's just not very feasible. See if I can get another Oath trigger here. Or I could also, like, run Caracas, to be fair. Okay, so they do have Gaia's Blessing. They do have Commandeer. Weird. I feel like people are, like, all over the place with Commandeer now. Let's look at the 10 cards from the Atraxa, too. They have a Raph and Mickey. That's good to know. So maybe I will play Consigns and Swords. If they're willing to throw the game for Raph and Mickey. They also have a Thoughtseize. But the problem is, like, what is... I guess it's like... I guess I can just get rid of trainers and try to, like, get rid of all their threats. It's possible. I guess we wouldn't play Flames at that point. We can just play Consigns and Swords and just try to full control it. That'd be pretty interesting. Let's give that a shot. Because you don't think we need trainer for PO. So maybe that's the way to go about this, especially if my opponent's going to play Raff and Mickey. I think Raff and Mickey is kind of embarrassing as of a card to be playing in Oath. I understand like the why you would want to play it to like try to give yourself some speed, but it just is so vulnerable. This hand is great. I'm in. Opponent has a mole. We can even attack their mana with Consign. I'm really surprised I got Mindbreak trapped and there's a Commandeer, but maybe they just thought I was PO. That's possible. I'm gonna definitely go try to get a Meticulous Archive here, see if I can find a land. Flow State will definitely get binned. And Lorien revealed. Okay, I mean, it's a land. Let's get a little Volk. Let's play our Volk and we'll pass. They're gonna go get a Hedge Maze. Everybody be surveilling. It's so strong. It's really just so strong. It's hard to imagine playing decks without Surveil Land. Orchard to the Yard. Nothing from the opponent. Our flow state is now online. Kind of want to draw land still, though, first. Probably still casting flow state with... Oh, no, we have sorcery. I think I'm just going to cast Brainstorm, then. They have a spell for this? Mental Misstep? It's fine. It's not a huge deal. We miss our land drop, but we still pass the turn, and the next turn flow state is online, so... I'm okay with that. Means our Spell Pierce is more likely to work. And I'm gonna do the same thing to them. Spell Pierce this Brainstorm. Do they have like Land Oath with Force Backup follow? Oh, they have an Orchard. Okay. Flusterstorm. All right, now my flow state is online. No land, but land Lorien negation is fine. We have double counterspell. Nothing from the opponent. I think this longer game favors us. Just gotta keep hitting our land drops and mana. I'm gonna wait, hold up in multiple pieces of interaction, and then end of turn search with Lorien. That's a Vamp. I mean, Vamp is crazy because it's just blanking for a whole turn. I'm okay with that. Black, green, Oath of Druids. And we get a win condition. Thanks. I will negate your oath, and I am going to pitch... I think Time Walk is not necessary here. Not sure how good Consign actually is, but... I'll Flusterstorm this Force. All right. Negate your oath. And we have a clock. You have another follow-up? 2 cards left in my opponent's hand, and then we're going to refill with stock up, and the game should be over. Now we have a Consign Swords if something does sneak by. Does that mean I want to wait? No, I don't think so. I think I want to use this time to stock up before my opponent is refilled. They have Force after all of that? Force pitch Force. So they didn't want to force my Force after Flusterstorm? I guess they were worried about trap on my side. This is fine. I still have Force here. Opponent has no cards in hand. I can get a Lurrus. Doesn't do a whole lot, but I can get a Lurrus. The only card I need to force is Oath. Could force Ancestral as well. Stop. All right. I will buy Lurrus. Attack. So we don't get to refill with our stock up, but opponent got rid of 2 cards from their hand. I can't believe they had force after all that. It's crazy. But I think being worried about Mindbreak Trap from my deck makes a lot of sense. So Black Thoughtseize. Misstep it. All right. Pearl. Lurrus. So now I have Consigned Swords and Force. Now if my opponent goes Show and Tell now, I can actually let it resolve, consign the Attracts a trigger and Swords it. Get another block attacker. I now have Hardcast Force as well. See, this is the problem though. Like, I don't really like drawing these swords. Like, isn't drawing Thunder Trap Trainers instead of these swords like so much better? I could play a Thunder Trap Trainer here and close the game out. Yeah, I feel like this is not a good plan. I think I would have rather had the creatures. Blue, blue, blue. Show and Tell? Yeah, I think I'm going to do the consign thing. Oh, I guess technically they put an Oath in. That would be pretty tricky of them. If they put an Oath in off of that, it would be actually sick. So maybe I have to just force it no matter what. All right, we got another attacker. We still have forces. Yeah, actually, I think I can't make that play. I think I actually have to force it, which is crazy. But we got a Swords. We got a Show and Tell and an Attracts out of our opponent's hand. So it was like a pretty good trade of cards for us. Because it makes like their other Show and Tell draws not very good. Stock up. How much mana do they have? 3 mana? I think I'd rather use the Force because it costs way more. And they gave us another attacker. 2 attacks to win here. And we still have a negation, so... Pretty clean. That's kind of what we wanted to do. It's unclear to me if our line of taking swords and consigns and stuff was better than playing trainers, but it seems like you could go either way. Oh no, I think our winning ways might be coming to an end. Our league arch nemesis, Red Hot Phil. Hopefully not on the Dredge, but if he's on other classic Red Hot Phil specials like Raker, Initiative, or Jewel, our deck has some good hands against those kind of decks. So maybe if we dodge the Dredge version of Red Hot Phil, we'll be in a decent spot. Oh, man. We'll see, we'll see. So far, I'm liking what I've seen from my deck. Being able to play the hyper control, not hyper control, that's not even like a good descriptor, Justin. The like true control role, just a million counter spells, feels pretty good. We played against what we played against so far. We played against Frog and we played against Oath. Oath, like that's got to be one of our best possible matchups, even though our opponent built to be a little bit more leaner with Ponder and Flow State. Doesn't seem like that's enough. Oath is just so clunky. Though the Frog matchup did not look as good as I wanted. We need to make sure that our sideboard plan is cohesive and we can like board enough cards out. Like getting negations out, pyros and swords in was good. Just gotta wonder if like we need more. Like we need that portable hole kind of card or something. We'll see. I have a cat. Red Hot Phil does not have a cat. I also don't have any kind of force in my hand, which I think against Red Hot Phil is typically required. This guy likes to play turn 1 broken things against me. Now, if it's Raker, I'd be interested in keeping this hand on the back of Flame of Anora, Mental Misstep. But if it's Jewel, this hand is just not good enough to beat Jewel. So I think I'm going to mulligan. I did not find one of my 8 forces in my 7 or my 6. Or my Mind Break Trap. I'm gonna go one deeper. I think I actually just like have to have it, so. Oh, this is interesting actually. I think I'm gonna give up on the Spell Pierce and the Trainer and just go for stock up rebuy here. We're on the draw and we've already lost 2 cards from our opening hand, so we kind of need to rebuild. And I'm not actually going to be too mad if opponent ends up on Dredge and crushes us in game 1, because our deck doesn't really beat Dredge in game 1 anyway. So, like, I don't have to consider Dredge that much in the opening hands. Now, if it's mono white, I want to counter this Crypt, but if it's anything else, I don't. I think I'm just going to blind counter this Crypt because it's just so powerful. Let's see what opponent's got for us. Workshop. Free ball. Something. I don't know. I'm kind of traumatized from Mana Crypts. Mana Crypt... I've always, everyone knows Mana Crypt is broken. Everyone knows Mana Crypt is an insane card. But over the years, I've gotten more and more respect for how many broken draws are enabled by Mana Crypt across decks. So not only did the opponent have a workshop, but they also had something I could have mental misstepped. So. Okay, my opponent had an opening salvo of how much mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 mana. That sounds like Red Hot Phil. Tinker for a Jewel. Okay, I mean, I don't know. This is the guy. This is what he does. I could have held my negation. Should have held my negation for this Jewel, but that's okay. Sometimes you lose. Turn 1. Workshop, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Sapphire, Tinker. Yeah. Maybe I'll catch my opponent by surprise with my Stony Silence if I act like a PO deck. I don't think I'm coming back from this spot, but I think I might actually give and that's Larian Academy. Might actually make my opponent not bring in Masticores. I did show them negation though. I will say that negation on Mana Crypt backfired as much as physically possible. If I had let that go, I mean, mental misstepping the Soul Ring doesn't really even help, so. This will really solidify that I am combo, even though I'm not combo, which is kind of fun. I will say that I was a disciplined mulligan from 7 and 6. My 7 and 6 card hands also would have lost. My hand gave me a fighting chance, but the negation ended up being pretty bad on the target that I chose. So here I have Consign. I don't really like Pyro, but it can be better than Flusterstorm. We'll put that here as well. Stony Silence is going to be key. And then it's really annoying, but Flame is not good. And I have to keep Swords because Flame doesn't kill Masticore, which is quite annoying. Yeah, I don't really like Flusterstorm. Spell Pierce is fine. I don't really like Misstep very much either. I think I'm going to take out Soul Ring when I go for the Stony Silences is my plan. I do want Needle, though. It's an extra way to deal with the 1 ring. And then maybe I'll just bring 1 Pyro in. I don't really want to have swords in my deck, but I do think I need to have some Masticore answers. Maybe I just don't. I'll just have A swords. This is another spot where I think we want Seal of Cleansing as a Masticore answer instead of having swords. Could be pretty good. Yeah. I don't know. I'm really happy with my mulligans there. Not that it worked out, but that I convinced myself to mulligan. I think that was a good play. This seems fine. Seven card keep from Phil. Double Mox in hand. Mana Vault. Saga Gaming. Yeah. That's pretty good. Probably have to consign the Saga trigger. Because I don't think I'm beating constructs here. I don't think I'm beating constructs here. Maybe I do just need to have dress down. I mean, I'm not sure I'm beating this Saga no matter what, but I'm certainly not beating constructs. I want to replicate this. I'm so dead. Probably negate anything that comes out of my opponent's board here because they can get Vexing Bauble and a Workshop. Okay. Well, definitely negating that. I'm just going to get rid of this Brainstorm. All right. No follow-up is good. Stony. See if that gets us there. Probably not, but try. Yeah, can't make a construct still. Gotcha. I assume this is Vexing Bauble. I guess it could be a blue source if they have a blue spell they want to try to resolve. Give a PO or a Tinker or something. Vexing Bauble. Metamorph on my Thunder Trap Trainer. PO. They would have to have an island land because they'd have to crack their bauble if they want to play Sapphire or something. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Oh, yeah. I'm getting red hot filled again. Oh, he's too good. I just can't even do anything though. Like I have to negate this bauble, so I can't. Ugh, it's so bad. I guess I could have negated the Sapphire, but now they can just play a Jewel, so who cares? You can also just metamorph this Thunder Trap Trainer to find something. Aw, man. Urza Saga for Vexing Bauble is so good. Time Walk. And Jewel. I should just hit this Sapphire and the Ring. Yeah, I should hit the Sapphire. That was bad play. Nothing like... I mean, it's not nothing bad can happen. My opponent can just Jewel me and it's fine. But... So, Stony Silence, too late on turn 3. Is my turn 3? Or is my turn 4? Yeah, my turn 3, right? Or maybe my turn 2. I don't know. I don't know. This is just Jewel doing Jewel things. I'm good here. It's so bad. If Jewel is beating the 8 Force, Mindbreak Trap, Consigned to Memory, Stony Silence deck, it's just... How do you win? All right, no worries. Just gotta shake off the Red Hot Phil League match. That's how it goes. We're up against the BLT. No Lurrus and a Mola 6. I'm in. I got double force. This is the hand I wanted against Jewel. Yeah, our deck is not very well suited to play against Urza Saga, unfortunately. Don't know how much we're allowed. Oh, it's Dredge. Okay, never mind. Our deck has a very much 0 chance of beating Dredge with... We don't have a strip mine. All we can do is like a big 4th Airlingus somehow. Oh, it's Vengevines. That's slightly better. Not much better, but slightly better. It is slightly better. Our cards are still bad against them. Master of Death making this a Faithless Looting every turn is very good. But it's less, it is less bad than Dredge. Dredge is real impossible for our no combo deck to play against. No combo, no wasteland is the key there. So double, okay, now we're probably dead because my opponent has double Bazaar, double Squee effects. So they're just gonna actually outdraw us. Yeah, I don't think we have anything. I mean, we have to draw Mana Crypt next turn probably to push through. Commandeer in the main. Okay. Okay, let's just go with a Meticulous Archive. I think that's better than Lorien Revealing. Time Walk is good. We can build out our mana that way. Doubt they'll counter it. It's not really a must counter or anything. They only have 3 cards right now until they get their squeeze back. New land. Okay. Don't have an instant in my yard yet, so don't really want to flow state. How do we win this game? Trying to figure out how we win this game, and I don't know the answer. So my opponent is going to have a million looks every turn with 2 Bazaar, 2 Squee. Maybe like we could play a Soul Guide Lantern in the main to give us like some chance. It's not a bad idea. Doesn't really play with our game plan very well, but give us a fighting chance. Here's a Vengevine and 2 Root Wallas. 2 Vengevines, 2 Root Wallas. We can at least Swords 1. We know the opponent's hand has Master and Squee. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to go in response to that. I don't really want to give my opponent the information of what I'm doing, though. Not sure. There's a Master and a Squee and a Vigor and a 3rd Bazaar. Okay. Hopefully they don't hit too many more Squeeze. We don't actually have a lot of swords in our deck. We only have 2 swords, so it's going to be impossible to like get rid of all their Vengevines. 3, another Vengevine, and another Master of Death. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, I'll tell you that much. They have Mental Misstep. Okay. Negation on a sorcery, maybe. Okay. Taking 4. Soaring is good. It helps me build out my mana. Ancestral Fluster. Pearl. I think I take Ancestral Fluster, and then I'm gonna not get Mindbreak trapped. But I could force. I haven't played my land drop yet. All right, I can force a Mindbreak trap here, so I'm gonna cast Ancestral. So maybe I should kick in the Pearl. I don't know. I kind of want the blue card. Okay, that just resolves. Hmm. Am I interested in flow stating again? I think so. There's my 4th. Will I get to that point in life? We kind of need to get to like Lurrus somehow. I don't know. It's just, I don't think we're getting there is the problem. And it has to be quite a large 4th as well. We need to get to Lurrus to buy back our Lotus, but my opponent's going to get 3 cards back here. So they go up to 5, and then they get to activate Bazaar 3 times, and they still have a Vengevine in their yard. It's looking a little impossible. Up to 7, down to 4, up to 6, down to 3, up to 5, down to 2. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I don't have enough time, I think. Even if next turn I get Lurrus, Lotus. Oh, they pitched Wasteland and Strip Mine? Are they just trying to find a force? Hopefully, they're just trying to find a force. They have 4 squeeze effects now. Because if I get Wastelanded here, I don't think I can win the game. Really hope they're just trying to find a force. Because I have force covered, but I can't beat Wasteland Strip Mine. They now have a bajillion squeeze. Okay, so it looks like they're just trying to find a force. So I'm really happy I'm not getting Wasteland Strip Mine here. I feel like it's my only chance to win is if I can get Lurrus in play. So state. All right, I will buy Lurrus. I will play Lurrus. They will force me. They didn't even force me. I will play Lotus. I don't think I'm allowed to. I think I need all my mana for next turn, so. All right, they have 2 cards in hand, and they're bringing back 5, 6 squeeze. I have 2 forces and a fluster. I need to probably 4th for a bajillion. Also, they can't attack their Root Wallas in, but they can attack their Lurrus in. This is probably not enough for me, but yeah, we tried. Opponent had 3 Bazaars in their top 28. Actually, they had 3 Bazaars in their top like 18. We're putting up a fight. So many squeeze though. They have 1 Vengevine in the yard. If they hit 2 Vengevine, if they hit a Vengevine and they both hit me, I go to 1. I won't be able to force back, which is probably too bad. So there's 3 squeeze, 3 masters in the first 2 activations. This is up to 9, down to 6 cards. They'll have 6 cards left after this. Somehow, I don't think this is going to work out for me. 2 more Root Wallas. That's basically the worst thing that could have happened. Because that brings back the Vengevine. And I probably just have to block. Because if I can't force, there's no way I'm getting through the 6 cards, right? Oh, they're going everyone. That's great for me. Because now I can take 8 and 9 and gain 3 and take a 6 total. That's so much better for me. Okay, that actually is great for me. I wonder if I can win now. They're at 15. So they have 5 cards. I need to hit them with 8 or 9 Erlingas, which is doable. So I think I force this guy. I have 1 force, 1 fluster. Misdirection. Okay. All right, so my opponent has 3 cards left. If they have blue card force Mindbreak Trap, do we win from this spot? If my opponent has 3 blockers, Lurrus gets blocked and 2 damage gets blocked. So I need to have a 4th Aerlinges for 17, 18, so 9. And I currently have 1, 2, that's my thing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, which is 9 plus Fluster. So I win the game if they have... Okay, cool. I win the game, I think. I believe I win this game. Can I actually beat this? There's no way I beat Squee. That would be crazy. I think my opponent made a huge mistake in attacking with the 2 Root Wallas. If they hadn't attacked with the 2 Root Wallas, I couldn't block. I would have to probably chump block, and I lose 3 mana, right? No, they have another spell. Hopefully it's just Noxious. Okay, Noxious is fine. That's fine. Because we already have what we need. Red. White. This is 9. Block. 9 times 2 is 18. Yeah, we're super good here. Wow. That's so good. It's crazy. I have double counterspell backup for my fire my This is one of the most awesome wins I've had. Wow. Okay, so we took game 1 versus Countervine. I think over encumbered isn't good, but I'm gonna bring it anyways. And I don't really actually like priest much, but I might bring it anyways as well. I might just bring everything I can that does something, because we're gonna have a bunch of cards that aren't good. Maybe we're not actually gonna have a bunch of cards that aren't good. All of our blockers are good. Our lands are good. Flusters and Pierces are... Well, Pierces are not amazing, but... Mental Misstep is probably not needed. Probe is good. Maybe I mean, is over encumbered good? It can buy me a bunch of time, which might be worth it. It might be worth it. I'm gonna trim on... Oh, definitely Mindbreak Trap. Maybe it's like flow state and a stock up. Maybe it's just like 2 flow states. Just trim 1 of each. Try this. Unclear. Okay. I have a cat. Game 2. Yeah. I think that's acceptable. It's not our best hand of all time or anything, but it should be fine. Opponent's on a mull here to 4. If our Jeskai control deck beats Countervine 2-0, that's pretty good. Also, it's a sign that maybe Countervine is not a very good deck. All right, up to 5, down to 2 from the opponent here. We've got a great answer for a hollow 1 or a Vengevine start if we can get to white mana, which we have Lorien revealed. So the double Root Walla, 1 Squee effect, 1 Master of Death here. Do we want to play around Mindbreak Trap? I feel like the answer is no. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I'm just going to jam all my magic cards here. I'm going to go Pearl. I think about countering my Pearl. No. Okay. Ruby. Jet. I don't even have to get a thing now. I can just cast Lorien Revealed. I have 6 mana. I could just cast a Kicked Trainer. What do I want to do? I think I just want to cast Lorien Revealed. Sweet. I don't know if that's right. Maybe playing multiple spells there is right. Also, having Lorien Revealed in case I get Wastelanded and get a blue source is also probably good. So that was probably wrong. I don't know which one is my best. I'd probably just play a normal trainer. It just feels bad to play a normal trainer when I can kick a trainer. I guess I could just kick a trainer. I kind of wanted to wait and see if I could, like, be in a better position to do that, but that seems stupid, actually. Maybe, I don't know. The Mindbreak Trap is so likely, right? Unclear. Very unclear. I might have been wanting to kick a trainer on that turn. I don't know. If you guys go back and comment on this video, just give me the timestamp and let me know what kind of opener you think I was supposed to go with there against a Mold of 5 Squeevine player, Countervine player, with 2 cards in hand. I'd like to know. I don't know. Maybe we can go back and look at it if I have time. I think the thing I chose was the worst choice. It worked because it resolved, but if it hadn't resolved and my opponent had like a wasteland after, that's like a way we lose this game in a game that I think we're already like probably winning. So I don't want to expose myself to that. All right, so a Force got pitched, a Master got pitched, and a Vengevine got pitched. Interesting that a Force and a Master got pitched. Maybe they have some kind of interaction, some form of interaction, but they didn't think Lorien was good enough for it. Or maybe they just got the interaction now. They have the Wasteland, see? Yeah. Yeah, I don't like my play, but it didn't get punished, so. They have a Vigor Wasteland. Okay, that's fine. They're gonna hit red and white. Yep, I mean, this is all fine. We got stock ups. I like Needle Trainer. And then we can needle them next turn and we'll still have Force up. So I think we were almost in the clear here. They went up to 2, up to 4, down to 1. We know they have a Vengevine and in their yard and a Master of their 4 cards. Commandeer, Vigor, Master, second Bazaar. So if this can hit them 2 Root Wallas for the Vengevine, it hit them oh, wow. It hit them 1 Root Walla, 1 Vengevine. So my opponent is out of cards. They have 3 Root Wallas. They have a Master and 2 Vengevines in their yard, but we're going to go with a Needle and a Trainer next turn. Trainer's going to stop all their Root Wallas, and Needle's going to stop their Bazaars. We also have a Containment Priest. Bazaar of Baghdad is named on our Needle. And Thunder Trap Trainer is also played here. I think I'd rather have stock up than over encumbered because I just don't need that. I just need to hit land drops, make my white sources and stuff. So my opponent does get to bring back a Master here. But I have a Force, so it's going to be a while before they can try to get rid of this thing. And even when they do, there's actually 2 Vigors already in the yard, too. And they can't attack because of my Trainer. And, okay. I'm just going to go stock up, try to hit my land drops here. Time Walk into Lurrus stuff. Black Lotus. Let's go with Fetch Land and Black Lotus. Let's get a Fetch in play. Let's get a Black Lotus in play. And then we'll go to the next turn. And next turn we can get Lurrus going, rebuild all our mana, and we'll be good. If you get a second counterspell would be nice as well. Let's go with Meticulous Archive here as our white source. It's just been... actually, let's just keep this. Extra land is fine. Let's buy a Lurrus. Play a Lurrus. Play a Pearl. Play a... I'm in trap range. No matter what I do. So let's just do a Time Walk. So if they have like Trap Vigor, that's like a way we actually get really wrecked here, but I need to advance my game plan. I can't be like the most cautious. I could have, right? I mean, it's really hard because I can't go like play Lurrus and get something back in the same turn and then not have forced trap turned on. All right, let's do Tormod's Crypt. Let's wipe this yard. Let's replay. I don't know. Replay Tormod's Crypt, I guess. I guess it doesn't really help us. Just replay Black Lotus. Stock up Time Walk. I don't have an instant in my yard yet. Let's just use this Lotus to kick a trainer. Probably should have kept double white. This game is locked up, though. Here's a fourth Erlingas. And... like a one-mana counterspell would be nice. Soul Ring. All right. This game's almost over. We are infinitely far ahead. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. I'm down for Lotus 4th. For like a big number, but not all my mana. So my opponent does have Force Trap. They can eat my 4th, but I'm going to win the game with my little dudes as well, so should be fine. GG's from the opponent. All right. We beat Countervine. All right, here we go. 5th and final round of our test league with PO list PO. I've been pretty happy. It's been fun. I had a good time. I got to figure out exactly what is different between doing these off streams and streaming live for me right now, because I've been having some trouble with enjoyment levels on stream. I'm still working through that. I want it to be fun. If it's not fun for me, it's not worth it. So that's just the bottom line. And also, when it's not fun for me, it's not good for everyone else, because you don't want to see angry, ragey Justin. So I think this hand sucks. I'm mulligan this. This hand is a lot better, actually. I think I'm gonna get rid of this archive, and then, boy, it's a little risky, but my opponent goes for like the negation on crypt, but I think I'm gonna do it. Gonna get a red source. I'm gonna cast the trainer. I'm trying to find a force, so that if my opponent's playing Jewel or something, we can live. No force. Stock up Lorien 4th. I'm gonna take the Lorien just in case we need to hit our land drop next turn. The fact that I have 8 forces in my deck and a Mindbreak Trap, and I have so many opening hands in these leagues that I haven't had any of them, it's been crazy, hasn't it? Regardless, we play on. There's a force. Okay. I think I like playing around Fluster Pierce a little bit here and going for another trainer, trying to find, like, being able to hit my own Spell Pierce Fluster Storms and forces. Trap. I'll take Trap. All right, so it just took us a little while, but we got there. We found Trap and Force against probable Doomsday. Our deck, I don't... Our deck isn't perfect versus Doomsday because we don't have, like, any way to have a super fast clock. But our deck is quite good in the amount of counter spells we're playing, so... Definitely Doomsday. No one else is going to play Consider unless there's, like, maybe, like, a Bug Murktide or a Blue-Black Murktide deck. My opponent kept the card on top with Consider. We have at least Force Trap. We have a nice little clock here. It's not a great clock, but we have a clock, so we can play towards that. And then we still, we don't have the ability to flow state yet because we haven't used any of our reactive instants. But we do have the ability to rebuy or refill with stock ups here and flow state if we force. Though I guess if we force, we're probably pitching flow state, which is fine. Also, opponent's probably going to play around Mindbreak Trap to the best of their ability, as that is the card they know about. Yeah. Should be fun. Doomsday should be a fun matchup. Challenging back and forth. We got to fetch from the opponent to maximize their brainstorm. Okay. I am just gonna fire. I guess I don't have any pyros in the main, so I'll fire off a stock up here. Unfortunately, it does get flustered or spell pierced, but I need to progress in this game, so. Uh-oh. Alright, got rid of a Flusterstorm, which I think is not the worst outcome, but it would have been a lot better if I just hit a land and couldn't get Flusterstormed. At some point we could buy Lurrus instead. It's good that our opponent doesn't have a Flusterstorm for our Mindbreak Trap, but they still have a 7-card Doomsday hand at the moment, so I am increasingly worried that us unable to resolve a Flow State or stock up, we won't be able to get enough cards. That's my worry at the moment. Let's see. Cycle of Street Wraith. Yeah, I would not put myself in a position of power here. The advantage bar does not look like it favors us. Low state, yeah, that's sick. Ponder plus 1 mana. I'm jealous. I can't be countering these draw spells though, against Doomsday. I wonder if I should swords my trainer to turn on flow state to try to get more blue cards. It doesn't make any sense, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Black Lotus. That gives me a Lurrus option here. It also gives me like a double hard cast option, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it doesn't give me a double hard cast option. All right, I'm gonna go with play Lurrus and see if that gets a counterspell from the opponent. Make me pretty happy if it did. No. I do have a double cast here, though. Just something. Yeah, all right. I mean, the clock is at least substantial now. 2 turns plus a fetch. They have 8 cards and 3 mana, so I would assume we're going to lose this game. What we do have is a sword if they build their pile wrong as well, so we have some options. But I would say we've gotten kind of bullied by the ability of... because we didn't have a substantial clock, opponent got to play the cantrip build your best hand kind of game that Doomsday is allowed to do, as it's the only cantripping deck in the format now. So... I definitely have to let this Doomsday resolve. Doesn't actually do anything. Make my opponent build a pile and play through it. So we're chilling here for a sec. If I have anything interesting to say, I'll say it. If not, I'll cut to when they finish their pile and we can talk it over. But, you know, if Doomsday is stopping the opponent, you know, if countering the Doomsday is like a very big tempo play, it's fine. But here, I have this lethal in play. So this is always going to put my opponent on lethal. So they have to win. So they need to make a pile. And this card doesn't technically do anything. Wow, that was a fast pile. They must have so much counter magic. All right. I will say that the swords might throw off our attack and win, right? Because it'll go to 5. No, it'll go to 5, then to 6. Oh, yeah, so I will throw off our attack and win, so... Let's see how good our opponent's Doomsday pile is. And pretty impressive timing. Let's see. There's a Tameo in the main. That's interesting. 1 force... 2 forces. There's still 2 forces left. Gosh. I mean, I don't think we're allowed to counter Gush. I don't think we're allowed to counter Gush. Any cantrip can get there from here, so... Duress. You have a Duress in the main as well. It's pretty brutal. Yeah, I don't think we got anything here. I think opponent has too much stuff. Force back over the top. Too much time, too many cards. Ancestral as well, yeah, okay. Well, now my sword doesn't do anything, so... Yeah, nothing we're really going to get accomplished in that game. I think the turn we drew swords, we had to draw a land so that we could play our stock up through a Flusterstorm. I think that's the key turn of the game that we didn't get to accomplish what we were looking for do. The good news here is we have some consigns and some pyros, which can come in for these swords and for this island. And 1 more Magic the Gathering card. One trainer. I feel like I want as many cantrips and counters as I can get. Flame of Manor does have the alternative mode of target opponent draws 2 cards, which could maybe kill our opponent in certain piles as well if they don't think about it. So lots of things to think about here. Don't know. Yeah. I want to keep all my fast mana because I need to have like a way to like get a Lurrus in play and get a clock going. That's my biggest problem with this matchup is I don't think traditional like all counter control is enough for Doomsday because they're such a well-oiled machine. You have to also have uh a clock, which our deck just doesn't have. So all right, I'm gonna go with a fetch land so that I can play either Pyro or Surveil land or Lorien. Probably Surveil land because I already have a bunch of lands in my hand to push forward here. Strikel Street Wraith, interesting. This does mean they can like upkeep an Ancestral and I won't have a red mana to pay for it, but I don't know if that's a thing I'm really playing around. That's a pretty good draw. I'm gonna try to build up my mana with Time Walk here. Like I said, if they want to counter that, that's fine with me. I am not going to use my Lorien. I'm going to just take a fetch. I have 2 fetches. And then will I stock up into possible Flusterstorm again? I think I have to. I think doing nothing here or buying Lurrus here is not good enough. Maybe buying Lurrus is good enough, but I'm going to take Force of Will and Flame. I think taking another force after that is probably a little too greedy. I only have... Yeah. Okay. I think the next turn is a buy force turn, a buy Lurrus turn. We do need to get the Lurrus in play to clock our opponent, or we have nothing going. So... Sorry, just fixing something in the Discord. All right. Yeah, Ponder's fine. I think I have to hit either a force, an ancestral, or a flow state with this pyro. I feel like going for Ponder is not enough. We're gonna have to really make sure we maximize our spells in this game. Oh, hi Justin. Trying to help this person post their link. Oh. All right, here we go. I'm gonna fetch. I don't want to draw any more lands, really. We're almost out of fetchables. Stock up changes the scenario here, though. Definitely interested in that. Take a pair of forces. All right. So I'm hoping that this is what we're looking for. We've got to load up on forces, and now we just need to get a threat. Okay. So I have a question of if I don't want if I want to Lorien. I think I'm never casting Lorien draw 3 here, so I think I am just getting more mana. It's my last mana that I can get with fetches. So I got to keep that in mind. I have 2 dead fetches in my deck. And I will buy... Lurrus here and then pass. Playing Lurrus doesn't do anything in terms of my graveyard and puts me too many things tapped out. Well, buying Lurrus at all might be too many things tapped out, to be fair, but I think it's fine. Duress. So that doesn't take Lurrus. I guess this just hits my hand, sure. Force, force, force. Pierce, Pyro, Flame, Lurrus. How does that make you feel, Doomsday player? Can you beat it? I assume they're gonna take... I don't know what to assume they take here. I have no idea. They do have 6 cards in their hand still. They haven't really done anything. They can't take Lurrus. That's the one thing they can't take. This it is a kind of one of the reasons that I do like playing Thoughtseize instead of Duress instead of Doomsday, is there are a lot of creatures you want to hit. Now I wouldn't put Lurrus at the top of that list, but like Archon of Emeria, Peacekeeper, those kind of cards, all those cards all matter to Doomsday. So sometimes you want to hit a Lurrus or a Frog too. I don't know. My opponent is in the tank, which is fair. There's a lot of 6 different very reasonable hits here. Taking the flame would mean I can't like end step draw 2. Also gives them information to not make their pile in a way that flame kills them. Yeah, they took the flame. I think that's reasonable, but I do still get to play Lurrus next turn, and I have a lot of mana. So I don't know. Upkeep, dig, maybe? Upkeep. Hull Breacher, maybe? Looks like dig. I want to Pyroblast this, but I don't know that Spell Pierce gets like much better than it does right now. Mental misstep on Spell Pierce. All right, now Pyroblast for sure. Do I play around trap? I just pass. They got 2 counters out of my hand, so probably decent. This Ancestral could target them as well. Low state. So they got instant sorcery. I think I'm actually down here to hardcast a negation on this. Maybe that's too greedy, but it's gonna be tough to like hold that open and play Lurrus and those kind of things. So not playing this Ancestral unless my opponent taps out. I think doing anything else would be really greedy. Don't think I have enough counters in my hand at the moment to like let a Doomsday resolve and try to beat it. Though I might. probe. Definitely want to probe and just see what my opponent's working with. They can't have that many counters. They do have the Fluster, so we played around that. They do have the Murktide as well. Murktide, Flow State, Fluster, Doomsday. Wow. Okay, I'm going to cast Ancestral right now. Okay. Let's cast a Thunder Trap Trainer. And I found a new Pyroblast. Gotta take it even though they'll know about it. This is why I do not like the Murktide pivot plan. Like, if you're pivoting Murktide into a deck that's bringing in Pyroblast, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna pass here. So this buying Lurrus has never really done anything for me, but next turn maybe. Or maybe next turn I just play Flow State. Opponent's in kind of a rough spot. I am now probably priced into letting this Flow State resolve because I do want to have Pyroblast as an answer for Murktide, which is annoying, but... Are they going to play Murktide? I'll just go to my turn before I cast it. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I just don't believe in this plan. I have one more land, right? No. I don't have any lands left. Okay. They're just going to use the Fluster because they know about it. I'll just pay. It's fine. Yeah, I'll just pay. I have enough things. Though I guess I might overdraw here. That's kind of stupid of me, huh? It's fine. Let's go with Stock Up Brainstorm. We have 8. Kind of didn't think about that. I'll just pitch the Lorien. No, I'll just pitch this Lurrus. I don't need this Lurrus. I think it's fine. Doomsday. Force pitching Lorien. Yeah, a second Fluster. Force pitching Brainstorm. Another Fluster? Oh, a Consider, sure. They put Lotus in the yard. Okay. So they have 2 cards remaining. I still have all this mana, and I'm going to untap with a Stock Up. Seems fine. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole game plan, right? Oh, right. We have a Tolarian Academy we can hit. I'm not going to show my opponent what I've got going on. Too much stuff. So here we take... We could just take Flame, Flow State. We could take Fluster, Flame, Flow State. We have infinite cards that do things here. All right, so we were able to navigate that one as the control deck. That was pretty cool. We did kind of expose my problem with the Murktide sideboard plan. Not ideal. Though I have to be maybe a little bit more cautious with how I use my pyros moving forward. This hand's actually pretty sweet. I'm down. I'm super down for this. Lots of options. Cool. Tap land. 7-card tap land hand from our opponent. We're going to get a nice mana advantage. They did show us trap. So I'm going to have Pierce, I guess. So it doesn't really matter. Think I'd rather get my... Oh, they have Mental Misstep for my Soul Ring. That's fine. That actually greatly reduces the number of things I can do on this turn, but I don't know that that's a big deal. See what opponents got for us here. Does give them an instant, so they can get towards their flow state. Nothing. We don't have another land. Now we do. Okay, this is a waiting game for us. We've got lots of instant speed ability here. Have the hard cast negation up. Have the spell pierce up. Another land for the opponent. DT. I will spell pierce your DT. Don't think I'm supposed to run into another Flusterstorm here, so I'm just gonna go Meticulous Archive. Lotus is good. Also, them countering Soul Ring just gives me something I can do with Lurrus later. And I think the answer is later. I don't think I want to do it right away. I want to hold up force, double force, I think. But I do want to get Lurrus going, so... I will have to use the Lotus. But they only have 4 cards, so... Seems fine. Now I don't have to use the Lotus. All right, Lurrus. Let's get back our Soul Ring. All right. I've got a clock. I've got 2 pieces of counter magic, and at some point I can start drawing cards. Technically, yeah. Like this spot. Opponent can play a Murktide if they want. It'll be a 5/5. You could kill it with straight up with Flame of Anor. Okay. Doomsday. 2 cards in my opponent's hand. I think this one's a time where Doomsday does resolve. Only 2 cards in my opponent's hand. They have to build a pile that beats this, my hand, and it has to beat Lurrus in time. I think this is fine. If they don't have a cantrip at all, we get to pass with a bajillion mana. If they do have a cantrip, we'll have to see how it fares. I think I like use Black Lotus for negation. Could lose this game though. Like their hand's double cantrip. Could put us in a bad spot if I like go for a negation. Like they go cantrip into Gusher Ancestral. We want to look for maybe a Flame of Anor target kill here, if we can help it. Especially if we get to pass next turn with having 5, 10 total mana. So A little short, but lots of options. This is a tough pile for the opponent, depending on what's in their hand. And they could have like counter spells in their hand still. They've cast no forces. We'll see what's in the reveal when we get to see what's in the reveal. I'm interested to see how this game turns out. It's not, I would say we're slightly favored, but it really does depend on the cards in my opponent's hand, and also depends on how my opponent builds the pile. I didn't really like the idea of going on a counter here, so I think this puts a lot of pressure. Also puts my opponent to 8, 3 Lurrus attacks if we have like counter the first cantrip, counter the second cantrip. But if they don't have a cantrip in their hand, it means they probably have counter magic in their hand. So, don't know. This will be interesting. Let me know in the comments if you would have countered this Doomsday. Probably some large amount would. All right, we're looking at 1 Oracle is removed. So they're going to go on 1 Oracle. They did keep in Regents. They kept in 3 Regents. That's crazy work. Multiple traps. Interesting. Force. There's 2 Flusters. Second Force. 2 Forces left. Kind of feel like they have a Force in their hand, and they were trying to play Doomsday with no cantrip and a hard cast Force backup. Which might be a bad sign for us. Fluster. They probably have another Fluster, maybe. I don't know if they cut a Fluster or not to get these flow states in. Do they cut a Mox Jet, or do they have a Mox Jet in hand? They might have a Mox Jet in hand, or they might have cut a Mox Jet. Okay. They have no cantrip. They are at 8. Consign, sure. Yeah, it's a sick one, especially with they have 1 Oracle in their pile. All right, I'm gonna pass. See how this goes. They didn't do Gush pile. They did Ancestral, it looks like. I think I'm gonna negate this. Let's see. They have Force backup. So they'll go to 1 card. They can have the Duress. I think this is fine. We let them draw 3, and then we go flame target them. And we can beat the Fluster with Consign, Replicate, and pay. I think I'm just going to hardcast Force on this. I'll untap, get my mana back, get an attack in. We can draw a bunch of things that can win on their own as well. That's not one of them. They also need to win the game on this turn because they are going to die to Lurrus. No. Okay. Interesting. I'm not 100% sure I like the choices I made in terms of counter magic there. I'll have to go back and look at that one. Let's think about it for a second. So what did they pitch to force? They pitched the Flusterstorm to force. So what was in their hand? Their hand was Force Fluster, and then they drew Ancestral. So me not fighting over it meant they kept 2 counter spells, and they went for the counter spell. So they could have had Force plus Flusterstorm backup after resolving Ancestral. Interesting. But if they had Force Fluster, I think they're supposed to make a pile that's Ancestral, Gush. Hell, I might not even put Ancestral first. I probably would put Gush first. Gush, Ancestral. I think my pile would be Gush, Ancestral, Oracle, a blue card, maybe? If they have Force Fluster in their hand. I don't understand. Yeah, I'm interested to see if this person comments or anything. Looks like they might have boarded out Jet. They must have boarded out Jet. But did they board out an? No, they must have had. Yeah, I guess the 2 Oracle pile doesn't work because Lurrus is gonna kill you in time. But that's why I think you should also put 2 cantrips. Yeah. Like, I think I like... So they're going to 8, they go to 5, they go to 2. Yeah, I mean, you have to put 2 cantrips for sure. So I think it has to be Gush, Ancestral, or Ancestral Gush. And then... I guess it has to be Ancestral Gush, because if it's Gush Ancestral, you can't Ancestral after, because you have to pass 1 turn. So the pile is probably... pile is probably Ancestral on top, Gush underneath, and the Gush draws you 2 Oracles, and then you have Force, Fluster, Gush, double Oracle at least. I don't know. I just don't think that we should be in a spot where we get our Ancestral countered and we can't, if we lose the counter war over our Ancestral, and then we can't win the game after. So that's how I feel. Though I don't have perfect information, so I could absolutely be missing something. So this was a 4-1 with 1 we got vintaged by Red Hot Phil, but we even beat Countervine. This was a very promising league. I don't know. The trainers were good, and the Flames didn't do that much, right? But the Pyroblasts were insane. The 4th Airlingas was very good. So I think this works pretty well, but I'm still not convinced on the Trainer Flame package. But maybe the answer is like a very light red splash for 4th Airlingas or Breach Brain Freeze, and then a bunch of Pyroblasts in the board to win the mirror. And by the mirror, I mean like the Stock Up Lorien mirror. Stock Up Lorien Flow State mirror. I don't know. Let me know what you think in chat. Is cutting PO the way to go? Has PO finally been eclipsed in Vintage and forced out of playability? Oh, that's a good clickbait, isn't it? More Vintage content on this YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you then.